Good evening, Bahamas. I'm Christina McNeil, and this is NB12 for Wednesday, November 7th, 2012, broadcasting from the Cable 12 studios on Robinson Road. In news tonight, opposition leader Dr. Hubert Minnis alarmed at the Prime Minister's recent comments regarding the upcoming gambling referendum. A week after BGC's offices are stormed by union members, the telecom is beefing up security and exploring the use of stem cell therapy in the Bahamas. We have those stories and much more coming up tonight. Your NB12 starts right now. Thanks for joining us. Leaders of the Free National Movement say they find Prime Minister Perry Christie's recent comments about next month's gambling referendum unbelievable and alarming. Christie told reporters outside Cabinet yesterday that he will not be releasing recommendations submitted to government by UK consultants. He also said that the upcoming referendum is more like an opinion poll. F&M leader Dr. Hubert Minnis is now requesting a meeting with consultants so that the opposition can learn the facts. Royston Jones reports.
Prime Minister Perry Christie's assertion that the gambling referendum set for December 3rd is really an opinion poll has sparked some very harsh criticism from the opposition. When NB12 asked what law the referendum would be held under next month, Mr. Christie said he is still awaiting a formal legal opinion, explaining that the law governing referendums does not apply here because the government is not seeking to change the Constitution. He said the government is simply taking an opinion poll to assess the public's views on web shops, but will still ensure that fairness prevails. While F&M leader Dr. Hubert Minnis says if it's really an opinion poll, Bahamian taxpayers should not have to pay for it.
The Prime Minister is basically trying to backtrack. The Prime Minister admitted that it's not a constitutional referendum, and he knows that without a constitutional referendum, and I'm sure he's seeking his legal opinions. If it's not a constitutional referendum, then the question he's asking, I'm sure he's asking all his lawyers and the Attorney General office, how are we going to pay for this? Because he can't ask us to pay. At least he shouldn't ask us to pay. Why should we pay for an opinion poll? We pay for constitutional referendum.
Dr. Minnis also accused the Prime Minister of flip-flopping. Mr. Christie told reporters on numerous occasions that he was awaiting a report from UK consultants on how to proceed with the referendum. However, when asked by the opposition to release the report, he said yesterday that there was no report to release. Dr. Minnis is now demanding that the government arrange a meeting between the opposition and consultants.
We've asked for them to arrange a meeting so the opposition, the parliamentarians, we can meet with this group that presented this so-called 4 or 5 pages. We can ask our own questions. Because can we seriously believe the Prime Minister anymore when he told us that there's a report and now all of a sudden there's no report? We want to see it ourselves. We want to ask our own questions. And all information that he has available to him, we want release.
The F&M leader also hit out at the government for holding the gambling referendum this year. Before the Prime Minister released the referendum date last week, Dr. Minnis appealed to him to give the Bahamian electorate more time to learn the facts about web shops so they can make an informed decision. Minnis told NB12 today he feels the Christie administration should be focusing on more important issues, not a referendum that's limited to the regulation of web shops.
You're making a quick decision for a referendum. But what happens to a quick decision for those poor farmers in Long Island and other family islands that have lost their farm products as a result of the hurricane that just passed? What happened to the individuals in Grand Bahama and other parts of Bahamas who has lost their homes, lost contents in their home as a result of flooding? Should decisions not be made quick for them as opposed to some special interest group? The Prime Minister have to be serious. What happens to those middle-class individuals and lower individuals who cannot turn the lights on because of the high expenses of BEC?
The F&M leader suggested that if the government take its time with the upcoming referendum, voters wouldn't be left with more questions than answers. Reporting for NB12, I'm Royston Jones.
Union leaders made headlines last week when they stormed into the Bahamas Telecommunications Company's headquarters on John F. Kennedy Drive in support of terminated manager Elizabeth Thompson. The company's CEO discussed the matter today, saying the company has taken steps to ensure it never happens again. He sat down with our Vonique Toot today, who filed this report.
BTC CEO Jeff Houston called it an invasion. He told NB12 today that since then, BTC has reviewed its security arrangements.
I think that would concern anyone, having your home invaded like that. So, you know, we've noted the action, and obviously we need to take appropriate steps to make sure that we protect our home.
Like?
So, you know, we've had a review of our security arrangements, and we'll continue to make the necessary modifications just to make sure that the business is and our people are fully protected.
After holding a news conference in BTC's lobby to demand that terminated manager Elizabeth Thompson be reinstated, leaders of several unions and their members stormed upstairs and took over the company's boardroom. Union officials also attempted to get into Houston's office, but were blocked by a security officer. However, they remained in the executive wing for nearly an hour before police were called in. Houston says the company did not terminate the security company's services, but did discuss with officials changes that needed to be made to prevent future invasions.
Proper access to the building, people with only getting access who are approved visitors, those kinds of things. Nothing unusual. We're not locking the place down or turning it into a military camp. We're simply just putting the appropriate and established controls in place, and having the and making sure that it's protected, because this business is one which services a lot of critical customers, and we've always got to be mindful of the technology and the equipment that we have, as well as our people.
Houston says he is also alarmed by statements union leaders made about BTC following Thompson's termination. Thompson, who served as a senior manager in the company's legal department for 4.5 years, was terminated 2 weeks ago. Houston was reluctant to discuss the matter as it is before the Ministry of Labor. However, he did say this much.
We are in a conciliatory process with the Ministry of Labor, and we have held, I believe, one meeting already. And we expect that to take its course. And really, we're not going to comment on that at all, but just to say that we are abiding by the rules.
He says they have worked very hard to build a good relationship with BTC's union partners by coming together to carry out a restructuring exercise, concluding 2 labor agreements, recruiting over 140 Bahamians, as well as reclassifying and promoting more than 200 BTC workers over the past 18 months. Despite recent events, BTC CEO says company execs will continue to try to maintain a good relationship with the 2 unions representing its workers. Reporting for NB12, I'm Vonique Toot.